Hello and welcome to the Myschool channel. My name is Angela, and in this video we're going to be tackling the English language JAMB past question for the year 2024. Please stay with us, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Myschool channel. Like I said earlier, we're going to be tackling the JAMB past question for English language for the year 2024. So in this video, we're going to be discussing questions 26 to 50. So now, remember in the last video, questions 18 to 25 came with a language register passage. So the best thing to do is to go down to the link in the description below. This takes you to the Myschool website where you can access the language register passage, or you can pause the video as soon as the passage is displayed on your screen so that you can catch up. So do not forget that the idea of the language register passage is to go through the passage, read, understand, and come back to the questions. So now let's begin with question 26. What option best fills the gap labeled 14? Option A, slit, B, gash, C, knife, and D, mesh. Now we're going to read the sentence in which that particular word should be used. A mechanical dash saws into the coal to a depth of 4 or 5 feet, thus separating it from its base. So the correct answer to this question is option C, knife. So it's a mechanical knife that is used to cut the coal away from the base inside of a coal mine. So that's what you use. You do not use a slit, gash, or mesh. We do not have tools like that. The tool that they use to separate the coal from the rest of the soil is a mechanical knife. Option C is the answer to this question. Question 27. What option best fills the gap labeled 15? Option A, fused. Option B, extinguished. Option C, detonated. And option D, stuck. The answer to this question is option C. Now we're going to read the sentence in the passage again. Explosive pushed into holes drilled at intervals in the coal are dashed by remote control and blow the separated section of the coal to pieces. So the answer is detonated. So you detonate an explosive in order to set it off, right? In order to ensure that the coal can be set apart so that they can be gotten out of the mine. So option C, detonated, is the answer to this question. Questions 28 to question 32 comes with a comprehension passage. So once again, I will advise you to go down to the link in the description below. This takes you to my school website where you can access the comprehension passage, or you can pause the video as soon as the comprehension passage is displayed on your screen. So do not forget that the aim of the comprehension passage is for you to read, to understand, pinpoint the main ideas, and get back to the questions. So now on to question 28. From the passage, it can be inferred that A, climate and weathering are not related. B, climate determines the type of weathering. C, weathering can only occur where the temperature is cool and water is available. And D, weathering is possible only in a place where the temperature is hot. So the answer to this question is option B, and we can find this in paragraph 1 and 2 of the passage. Weathering, which is the gradual breaking down or disintegration of rocks into smaller particles or fragments by either physical or chemical process, can be affected by many factors. Generally speaking, the climatic condition of a particular area has great effect on the weathering. So we can already see the answer there. The fact that the climate affects the weathering, the kind of weathering that's involved. So you can see that for physical or mechanical weathering, it needs temperature and water. That's climatic factors. Then for chemical weathering, it thrives where the climate is hot. So all of these things show that climate is a very important factor when it comes to weathering. Option B is the answer to this question. Question 29. A suitable title for the passage above is A, climate change, B, weathering, C, the composition of rocks, and D, geography. So the answer to this question is option B, weathering. You can see from the passage that the passage is talking about weathering, the various types of weathering, physical and chemical weathering. So all of this suggests that the best title for this passage is weathering. So option B is the answer to this question. Question 30. The writer was puzzled because A, he saw big trees growing from the rocks. B, he remembered what he learned in school. C, it was where the atmosphere was cool. And D, he was left alone wandering in a desert. So the answer to this question is option A, he saw big rocks growing from the trees, and we can see this on paragraph 2 of the novel. It says, I made a visit to my village to see these scientific discoveries. I noticed big trees with their roots penetrating into rocks and breaking them. I initially wondered and puzzled seeing trees growing from a rock. So we can see that he was puzzled by the fact that trees were growing out of a rock. So this makes option A, he saw big trees growing from the rocks, the answer to this question. Question 31. Learning in the four walls of a classroom implies A, formal education, B, informal education, C, non-formal education, and D, home education. So the answer to this question is option A, formal education. So you can see that it was used in paragraph 2 of the passage. We were all taught in these four walls of the classroom. So four walls of the classroom has a direct implication. It means that you learn in a formal setting within a school. So that means that the education you got was formal education. So it is not directly stated in the passage, but we understand from context what four walls of a classroom mean. So the answer to this question is option A, formal education. Question 32. One can conclude from the passage that A, rock particles cannot be found in the soil, B, rock particles can be found in the clay soil, C, rock particles can only be found in sandy soil, D, rock particles can be found in any soil. So the answer to this question is option D, rock particles can be found in any soil. So in paragraph 3 it states, a similar thing happened to the soil sampling surroundings where there were rocks. I could see the rock particles mixing up with the rest of the soil. So there is no mention as to what type of soil that you find these rock particles. They did not mention clay, sandy, or any other type of soil. So the best answer to this question will be option D, rock particles can be found in any soil. Question 33. In the following question, select the option that best explains the information conveyed in the sentence. He was building a castle in the air. Option A, he was building flying fortresses. B, he was imagining a terrible future. C, he was imagining a possible future as a famous architect. And D, he was imagining a wonderful and rather impossible future. So the answer to this question is option D, he was imagining a wonderful and rather impossible future. So building a castle in the air is a common idiom. It means you are thinking about something that's impossible. You are trying to do something that can't actually happen, can't realistically happen. So you can't build a castle in the air. So this means that whatever this person is planning, it's impossible for it to be achieved. So this makes option D, he was imagining a wonderful and rather impossible future, the answer to this question. Question 34. Jude appears to sometimes enjoy playing the devil's advocate. Option A, Jude seems to enjoy acting as the devil in films. B, Jude seems to enjoy playing the game. C, Jude seems to enjoy advancing the unpopular side of an argument. And D, Jude seems to always enjoy appearing differently. So the answer to this question is option C. Jude seems to enjoy advancing the unpopular side of an argument. So to play the devil's advocate is another idiom. It actually means to take sides with an argument that you may not necessarily agree with in order to advance the critical discussion of a particular subject matter. So you may take a position that you do not necessarily believe in or that other people do not believe in, but you take that position in order for the case to be argued properly to arrive at the best solution to a problem. So option C, Jude seems to enjoy advancing the unpopular side of an argument is the answer to this question. Do you know you can take practice questions with our simulated JAMB CBT past question? All you need to do is to go down to the link in the description below. This takes you to the Myschool website where you can download the Myschool mobile app for your Android devices and the Myschool software for your laptops and computers. Please go ahead and start practicing. Now to question 35. Yorima always holds his own in any situation he finds himself. Option A, he has self-confidence. B, he has self-respect. C, he has self-love. And D, he has self-discipline. So the answer to this question is option A, he has self-confidence. So to hold your own in any situation means to believe in yourself and to stand firm in whatever position that you hold. So someone who holds his own in any situation is someone who has self-confidence, confidence in oneself. So the answer to this question is option A, he has self-confidence. I believe you're enjoying this content. If yes, please do not forget to hit the like button, click on the subscribe button, and lastly tap on the notification bell to get informed as soon as we release the next videos. Question 36. Again, we have to select the option that best explains the information conveyed in the sentence. Titi was the cynosure of all eyes at the party. Option A, she was best dressed. B, she was the center of attraction. C, she was ashamed of herself. And D, she was eager to leave the party. So the answer to this question is option B, she was the center of attention. To be the cynosure of all eyes at a particular event or occasion means to be the center of attraction, to capture the attention of everyone in that event. So the answer to this question is option B, she was the center of attraction. Question 37. Let this case stand over for the present, the lawyer pleaded. Option A, the case should be discussed immediately. B, the case should be struck out, C, the case should be postponed, and D, the case is pending in court. So the answer to this question is option C, the case should be postponed. So to let a case stand over for the present means that you've resolved the case to a particular point, but the case is going to continue to be discussed at a later court hearing. So in this particular case, they are saying the court case should be postponed so that they can continue to discuss it at a later time. But at this present moment, the resolution should stand for that moment. So it may look like option D, the case is pending in court, is the answer to this question, but it's important to note that this particular sentence just expresses a general statement about the fact that the case is still in court and still continuing to be discussed, but it doesn't exactly express the fact that a resolution has been reached, but this resolution will continue to be discussed at the next court hearing. So this is why option D can't be the answer to this question. The answer to this question is option C, the case should be postponed. Question 38. Choose the option opposite in meaning to the word or phrase underlined. The judge declared the two accused guilty. Option A, rude. Option B, innocent. Option C, flawed. And option D, convicted. So the answer to this question is option B, innocent. The word guilty actually means to be responsible for a particular crime that someone was accused of. But the opposite of that would be innocent. Someone who is not responsible for that crime would be innocent. So option B, innocent, is the answer to this question. Question 39. A prosperous lawyer is definitely hardworking. Option A, affluent. Option B, poor. Option C, stagnant. And option D, luxurious. So the answer to this question is option B, poor. A prosperous lawyer is someone who can either be successful or affluent, depending on the context. Prosperous actually means either successful or affluent, depending on the context. So it means it has two meanings. For someone to be successful in what he does, or someone to be affluent or rich as a result of the work he puts into a particular thing. So in this case, they are talking about the fact that the lawyer is affluent, is rich, successful in terms of wealth, is thriving because he's definitely hardworking. So the opposite of that would be option B, poor. Question 40. Again, we have to look for the option opposite in meaning to the underlined word. Fake news is rife on social media platforms. Option A, hard. Option B, original. Option C, authentic. And option D, bogus. So the answer to this question is option C, authentic. Fake news is a news that is not real, is not true. So the opposite of that would be authentic. Authentic is something that is true, that is real, based on what actually happened in that particular situation. So it may feel like option B, original, is the answer to this question, but it's important to note that the word original is used in terms of copies or duplicates of a particular thing. You have the original copy of something and you have the fake copies, the duplicates of that thing. So in this particular context, it is authentic that you should use as the opposite in meaning for that word. When you are talking about news, the actual news is the authentic news, not the original news. So option C, authentic, is the answer to this question. Question 41. The children's room was messy when we entered. Option A, muddled. Option B, tidy. Option C, dirty. And option D, unkept. The answer to this question is option B, tidy. When something is messy, it's unorganized, it's untidy. So the opposite of that will be option B, tidy. Question 42. Again, we have to look for the option opposite in meaning to the underlined word. The judge pronounced the suspect guilty. Option A, acquitted. Option B, discharged. Option C, corrected. And option D, executed. The answer to this question is option A, acquitted. The word guilty actually means to be responsible for a particular crime. So the opposite of that would be option A, acquitted. To be acquitted means to be free of all charges. So all the charges leveled against you, you are free of all of them. So that is what acquitted actually means. So it may feel like the option B can also be a viable answer to this question. But it's important to know that you can be discharged for various reasons. You can be discharged because you have served your sentence, you've served your time in jail, and you are being freed. So it can also mean that you are also acquitted of the crime. So the fact that discharge actually has different meaning means that it can't be the exact opposite of the word guilty. The opposite of guilty will be someone who has been declared to be innocent, free from all the crime that has been leveled against that person. So that's why acquitted is the opposite in meaning to guilty. Option A is the answer to this question. Question 43. Choose the option nearest in meaning to the word or phrase underlined. The lecturer's wife has become quite unconscionable. Option A, unquestionable. Option B, unbecoming. Option C, suspicious. And option D, reprehensible. So the answer to this question is option B, unbecoming. The word unconscionable means immoral or unethical, beyond what is just or reasonable. So the word that is similar in meaning to unconscionable is unbecoming. When something is unbecoming of someone, it means that the person has done something immoral or unethical. So it's similar in meaning to that, although it may feel like the answer is option D, reprehensible, because reprehensible means doing something very bad that is deserving of reproach or condemnation. But it's important to note that there is more to reprehensible than what unconscionable means. Reprehensible means that you've done something terrible that is deserving of condemnation, but it doesn't exactly express that in the word unconscionable. So this is why option B is the best answer to this question. Question 44. Choose the option nearest in meaning to the word or phrase underlined. A, he bequeathed his company to his last daughter. Option A, sold. Option B, left. Option C, lent. And option D, added. So the answer to this question is option B, left. To bequeath something to someone means to leave your property or possession in the hands of someone else in your will. So when someone dies, they usually bequeath their possession to someone else. They leave it to someone else. So option B, left, is the answer to this question. Do you have a question? Please feel free to ask your question by going down to the link in the description below. This takes you to the Myschool website where you can ask your question and the solution will be provided to you within a short period of time. Now to question 45. Again, we have to choose the option nearest in meaning to the word underlined. She went to the court to seek redress for the wrong done to her. Option A, returns. Option B, appeal. Option C, judgment. And option D, compensation. So the answer to this question is option D, compensation. To seek redress means to seek reparation or compensation for a harm or injury that was done to you. So you usually go to the court to seek redress, to ask for compensation for the damage that has been done to you, whether it's to your rights or actually to a physical injury that has been done to you. So in this case, the nearest in meaning to redress would be compensation. It may feel like it is judgment, but judgment is different from compensation. You go to court to seek redress, to seek compensation. You may also go to seek judgment, but when we are talking about redress, we are talking about reparation for something that has been done to you, not for an actual judgment. So the answer to this question is option D, compensation. Do you have a better explanation or solution to any of these questions? If you do, go down to the comment section below, indicate the question number and the solution you'd like to share. Question 46. The attempt by the robbers to break into the bank was futile. Option A, successful. Option B, expensive. Option C, hostile. And option D, fruitless. So the answer to this question is option D, fruitless. The word futile actually means without success. So when you do something and you do not receive any reward or success at the end of the day, that particular thing is futile. So the nearest meaning to that will be fruitless. Fruitless means without reward, without fruit. So the answer to this question is option D, fruitless. Question 47. Again, we have to choose the option nearest in meaning to the underlined word. The newly employed teachers gave their work rapt attention. Option A, concentrated. Option B, conflicting. Option C, half-hearted. And option D, divided. So the answer to this question is option A, concentrated. To give your work rapt attention means to be fully concentrated, to be fully invested, to be fully absorbed in the particular work you are doing. So in this particular case, these newly employed teachers were giving full concentrated attention to the work they are doing. The answer to this question is option A, concentrated. Question 48. Choose the option that best completes the sentence. Sally assisted me in buying my dash yesterday. A, very first party dress. B, first very party dress. C, party very first dress. And D, party dress first very. So the answer to this question is option A, very first party dress. So this pattern follows the normal order of a noun phrase. So in a noun phrase, you should have the party, the adjective, close to the noun it's describing. That's why we have party dress. Then first should be before the adjective is describing. We have an ordinal number here. So when you have cardinal or ordinal number, it should come before the adjective and not after. So that's the reason why you have first party dress. Then we have very at the very front, because here very is describing first. It's the very first. You are trying to be more specific. It's the very first party dress that Sally had gotten. So Sally assisted me in buying my very first party dress is the correct order of the sentence. So option A, very first party dress, is the answer to this question. Question 49. Again, we have to choose the option that best completes the sentence. You know that you dash it before tomorrow. Option A, might do. B, ought to do. C, like to do. D, may do. So the answer to this question is option B, ought to do. So when you look at this sentence, it looks like what the person is trying to express is some sort of obligation, something that this particular person should do. So ought is a modal verb that helps to express obligation, something that you should do. So in this case, ought to do would be the best to fill that sentence. So you know that you ought to do it before tomorrow. So option B, ought to do, is the answer to this question. Question 50. Miriam, the girl in my neighborhood, treats people as if she dash better than they are. Option A, has. Option B, were. Option C, is. And option D, was. So the answer to this question is option B, were. So the reason where is the best option to fill this gap is because this is a conditional statement. It's expressing a hypothetical situation. So this hypothetical situation is the situation in Miriam's head. Miriam believes she is better than everybody else in the neighborhood. So you're talking about something that is not the case. It's not real, but it's something that is imagined in someone else's head. So in this case, that someone is Miriam. She believes she's better than everybody else. So in that case, you make use of the hypothetical situation, the conditional statements. And in a conditional statement, when you have if, you make use of the verb were. You make use of the past perfect tense. So Miriam, the girl in my neighborhood, treats people as if she were better than they are. Option B, were, is the answer to this question. I believe you're enjoying this content. If yes, please do not forget to hit the like button, click on the subscribe button, and lastly tap on the notification bell to get informed as soon as we release the next videos.